Regular viewers of my channel might remember that some time ago, over a year now, I picked up a load of old broken benchtop CNC machines at a local auction. There was an MCO F1 milling machine and 2 Boxford lathes. I've already uploaded a video on restoring and updating the CNC mill. I kept that machine for a few small jobs I wanted to do to thoroughly test it out. But it's now gone on to a new owner, which frees up some space in my workshop to tackle the next machine, which is going to be the Boxford 160 TCL lathe. I plan to keep this one for myself, as it takes up less space and will be more useful to me, as I've never owned a proper CNC lathe. I say proper lathe, but this is actually about the smallest type of CNC lathe you can get. It was really intended as a training machine to be used in schools and colleges, but it's the perfect size for a small home workshop, and is still capable of making some reasonably sized parts. All I have currently is a couple of stepper motors tacked onto my manual lathe. So this, with ball screws and an 8-position tool turret, will be a big upgrade. The machine didn't come with any kind of controller. There's normally a PC that runs proprietary Boxford software, and the machine itself seems to have some issues. I think this is probably electrical, but there could also be some mechanical issues, aside from the general dirty and rusty condition it's in. This particular machine was made in 1992, which is only 2 years later than the MCO mill, but the electronics are much more modern. The stepper drivers are modules and are the modern chopper type. The MCO had the old LR type built from discrete transistors. These use large resistors to limit the current, and are very inefficient. However, I'm still going to replace almost all of the electronics, except perhaps for the spindle motor driver, if I can get it working, as this will be quite expensive to replace. The drive isn't showing any signs of life. It doesn't seem to have power. Tracing the wires back, they lead to this relay, which has a button on the side. What happens if? I didn't have the camera running when I actually did this, but here's a dramatic reconstruction of what happened. Once the smoke had cleared, I removed the cover from the drive to inspect the damage. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. It looks like this smoothing capacitor has let go. Not unexpected for a 30-year-old device. I can probably replace it later, but it seems to work without it, as now when I press the button, the chuck starts to turn slowly. There are 3 control wires connected to the drive from the control board. These are 10 volts, ground, and the speed control input voltage. So I removed the wires and replaced them with a potentiometer. The drive enable pin is hardwired on, and it appears the motor is started and stopped by controlling power to the whole drive via the relay. I've removed the stepper motor from the tool changer It uses a worm drive to turn the turret. A pawl clicks into place at each tool location. The motor can then be reversed to lock it in place. The X and Z axes both seem to move smoothly. This chuck should clean up, but I'd really like a bigger one. A collet chuck would be nice too. I'd like to reuse some of the front panel buttons. I'll have to figure out all the circuitry on the back. Here's a closer look at how the tool changer mechanism works. The safety interlock switches on the lid and belt cover actually have 2 micro switches in each for double safety. That's about as far down as I can easily strip it. I wanted to remove the bed and headstock as well. I took out all of the bolts, but it also appears to be glued in place somehow. It doesn't matter, as I can just mask it off for cleaning and repainting. There's also this large choke inside the cabinet, which is attached with rivets. I don't want to drill them out. It's not in the way, as I won't be repainting the inside. So now I have a nice shiny new looking lathe, which still absolutely does not work. So what am I going to do about that? Well, you'll have to wait until next time to see how I replace the electronics and get this machine up and running.